This video will cover geofencing and how it is used in the Team Express environment. The first step is having the geofencing enabled. This is done through the eTime Express application. The first thing you must do is go into Customers, select the customer, and select their post or site. Over here on the References tab, you should see a field called GPS location. In here is where you need to actually put the geo coordinates of an actual site. An example of how to get this would be if you go to Google Maps, and put in an address. If you right click on the pinpoint and go, what's here, you will see the coordinates shown here. You don't have to get the coordinates from Google Maps, but this is just an example. If you copy this, and then go over here and paste it in and save. You've now told the system the physical location of the site or post that where it actually exists in the real world. The system will now use this as a reference point. The second step with this is to go into the Voice Express eClock section. This is where you're going to define what we call the geofence, or the width of the circle around that particular site. So what you'll do is go to File, eClock, Clock Track Setup. In here, you will need to click the Add button and add a customer and a post. And then on the Clock IDs tab, you will add the perimeter of the circle. This example here shows that it's 200 yards. You can make this 200 m if you prefer to use meters, or FT if you prefer to use feet. And you can even do MI or KM for miles or kilometers. In this case, we'll leave it at 200 yards. As you can see here, for every customer that you want to use geofencing for, you would have to go through and add a customer and the site for that customer that you want to set the geofencing for. It is possible, if you prefer, to add a customer and you can actually just use asterisks, which means all posts under this customer. If there's multiple sites, all sites under this customer will have the same radius. In this case, it's 300 yards. Okay, that's the first step. You've got the location set up and the perimeter set up. So now you've basically said, for this example here, for both of these sites, we've got, one of them is a 200-yard geofence and one of them is a 500-yard. Okay. What the employee will see when they log into the Team Express app is something that looks like this. They're going to see their dashboard, and they're going to see right now they have an existing shift, a current shift that they need to check into. They could slide the check in, and if they're within that geofence, all will be well. They'll be able to check in, and they'll go about working their shift. But they can click on the map view, and then we'll actually see now, in this case, we see a circle. So the center of the circle is the coordinates that I actually specified in the previous step. The green circle's width is defined by the size of the geofence, in this case, 200 yards. So this is 200 yards all the way around this location. As you can see here, the circle is green, and my mark is showing as very close to the center of that circle, meaning I'm allowed to check in. If my mark was over here, outside the circle would turn red, and I would not be allowed to check in, provided that I had actually checked the block calls from unregistered clock IDs option shown here. It is possible to leave this unchecked and allow what we call unregistered clock-ins to occur. And that just means that you're letting people clock in despite the fact that they're outside of the circle. If you want to restrict those types of actions, you simply update the record and check this option here, and no one would be able to check in outside the circle. Provided that you are within this circle, as shown here, you can check in like so, and they will tell you that your check-in's been recorded. As an administrator, what you can do in order to review these types of clock-ins is you can run what we call the clock-in log report. So with eTime Express, under Reports, Voice Express eClock, clock-in log. You can choose a date range. In our case, let's just run it for today's date. And we can look for different types of things that happen. We can look for check-ins, we can look for check-outs, safety checks, etc., all the way down the list. You can select one at a time, or you can just do a shift click and select all types if you want to see a full list of all the eClock actions that have been performed for the given day. Whenever you're ready to run the report, click OK, and you'll see the following information. You can see here how many check-ins, who made the check-in, what time they made the check-in in, and more interestingly, you'll actually be able to see the clock ID information of the actual geolocation they were at. So what you can do is you can actually take this information here. If you were to go back to your Google Maps, and paste in those coordinates with a comma like so, you'll see the location that our system recorded that person as when they did the clock in. This can be useful if you have the block calls from unregistered clock IDs turned off and you want to let people clock in unregistered. You can actually still view where they were clocking in from, and you can determine whether or not they were actually close to the site they were supposed to be or not. For more information on setting up geolocation, or if you need any assistance with this, please contact the SELEX support.